Hi, welcome back to another episode of This Stays in Our Book Club. We're talking about The Housemaid and by Freda McFadden, and we are up to chapter 37?
Mm-hmm. Part
right.
1.
Part 1. We just finished part 1.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to give us a quick rundown of what happens so we can catch
Sure. If I remember it. Yes. So, I think last time we talked about how Nina was very, like, back and forth. She was being, like, really nice, and then all of a sudden she was, like, crazy rude. And Millie was just starting to get fed up with her. And then, like, also slowly kind of realizing that she has a little crush on Andrew, the husband, and also some growing frustrations with Cecilia. So a few things that happen. That's her name, right? Okay, you gave me a look.
No, I know. It's because I had a minute there. I was like, that sounds really weird. It's like Cecilia? But no, that's right.
Cece. Yeah. So, I mean, a few things that I remember from it that kind of stand out. Millie tries to make a little, like, snack for Cecilia, and can't remember 100% what it was, but it was, like, crackers with, like, some banana and some peanut butter. And then she goes to hand it to her, and Cecilia's like, no, I'm allergic to peanut butter, and, like, starts freaking out, like, you're trying to kill me. And then Nina comes down, and she's like, what's going on? And she's like, she tried to give me peanut butter, and Nina's, like, pissed. And then later, I guess a different day, everyone's asleep. Millie decides she wants to watch some TV, so she goes to the living room and she's watching some TV, and she's watching, like, Family Feud or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And then Andrew pops up and he's like, what are you watching? And, like, hangs out with her for a second.
And she's in her, like, underwear, right, when this happens. She's not, like,
it's like boxer shorts or something. Like,
yeah, it's like, it's sleeping clothes, but it's like, she's not wearing a bra. I think that like, it kind of goes into a little bit of detail on that. Yeah. Which, I'm sorry, but that, when there's, like, other people who you don't have a very close relationship with, and you're dressed like that, you're asking for trouble.
I feel like even around family, like, you have to be careful. Yeah. I feel like, and not because it's just respectful, right? I think, like, if you're, I don't know, I think in my head, like, when I was younger, like, I'd go and, like, stay at my sister's house with, like, my brother-in-law and whatever. Like, it's not your home, so, like, you should just be,
and when I say, like, you're asking for trouble, I don't mean to be, like, I know how horrible that can sound, but at the same time, like, she's living somewhere where she knows her employer is gonna get mad over, like, very little things, and even, like, as she's talking about it, she knows very well that what she's doing is really risky, and
yeah,
I don't know. Anyway, keep going.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think, like, her, like, watching TV is that big of a deal, which it turns out to piss off Nina too.
Right.
I feel like that's fine. I feel like if I had someone living at my house and, like, they want to watch TV, and as long as it's not, like, a disturbance, right? It's super loud, waking up the kid, whatever it is. I think it's fine. But yeah, that's 100%. A good point.
But the PJs thing was,
yeah. And then Andrew's also, like,
in his boxers,
and a shirt, and then, like, he sits next to her on the couch, which is, like, 100%, like, when, because she did come out, but, like, when the wife comes out, it's like, are you not thinking that, like, you're both in, like, inappropriate clothing?
Really bad. Yeah,
it doesn't look great. But
which is one of the moments that was, like, I mean, I've been suspicious of Andrew since the beginning, but that moment was even, like, furthered my suspicions of him, because I was just like, you know, supposedly, like, with how everything is, like, set up at this point, the wife that he has, he knows her. And even if she was the most understanding, cool girl, like, had no issues with anything, you're in your boxers and you're sitting down with another woman who's in her, like, risque PJs. You know, I don't know.
In the middle of the night.
Yeah. If I walked in on something like that, I'd be uncomfortable, like, with my husband, and, like, what the heck? What are you doing? You know?
And, yeah, I agree. Like, you just don't put yourself in that situation.
Yeah.
Like, you just... Nothing needs to happen, but even just, like, it looking like it could have or might have, like, that's just... You shouldn't allow for that if you're respectful of your partner. I agree.
100%. Like, you're setting the situation up for, like, discomfort, you know, because you don't even want to give the other person the wrong idea of that you could potentially be interested or that there might be any chemistry. Even if, like, you have zero intentions of anything, like, you don't want to lead the other person on in a situation, you know? Like,
and, like, she lives at their house. Like, that's so intimate already, so you have to be extra careful.
Yeah. Anyway, keep going.
What?
Just, like, we just got stuck in that, like, part. I'm like, I have a lot of issues with that.
No, it's just fair.
Like, I guess I don't know. It's, like, the first sign to me of, like, or maybe not the first, there were already a few, but, like, it's already giving, like, a clear idea of, like, maybe Nina's not the problem, you know? Although she seems to be a huge part of the problem. Anyway, let's keep going.
Yeah. But, I mean, at the end of the day, he's married to her, right? So, like, whether she's nuts or not, he made a commitment.
Right. He owes her the respect.
100%. And also, like, the little girl could have come out, too, and seen the dad, and then she tells the mom. Like, it just has a potential for drama. So, like, why would you go there at all?
Yeah.
But what I was going to point out is how Millie mentions to him how she tried to make Cecilia a snack, and she didn't know that she was allergic to peanut butter. And Andrew's like, she's not.
Yeah.
And she's like, what? What the heck? And, like, she's like, I did think it was weird. Why would they have it in the house if she's, like, deathly, like, allergic to it?
Right.
But also, like, why is she lying or Nina lying? Like, why would they lie? And so it's just really strange. But at the same time, it does feel like Nina is, like, setting Millie up for failure a lot. Like, she'll say she said things that she didn't. She'll, like, tell her to go pick up Cecilia, but, like, she shows up to pick up the daughter, and then Nina's like, I never told you to do that. She, like, keeps gaslighting her, so it's, like, hard to know what to believe.
Yeah. You're, like, thrown all over the place.
Yeah.
In the whole situation. And it really does, like, I mean, it makes the book thus far gives very little space for, like, interpretation of, like, is Nina good or bad? You know, it's, like, pretty clear up to this point that she's kind of a bad person. At least that's, like, what it's trying to lead us to believe.
Like, she's super difficult. She's controlling. She's all these different things. And Andrew's the chill one.
Right. He's the reasonable one.
Yeah.
But.
Do you want to tell the next part?
Yeah. Well, you can fill in if there's anything I miss.
Okay.
Like, any gaps. But. So, as things progress, Andrew asks Millie to book, like, a concert tickets or for Broadway, right? Like a Broadway show or something. So she checks with Nina for, like, good dates. Nina gives her the dates that she should book for. And then Millie goes and she buys these tickets. They're very expensive. She books the hotel for them to stay at. And then, come to find out, Nina is like, Nina gets really mad at Millie because she's like, I never told you those dates. I wanted it for the week after that or whatever. And Millie's like, no, like, you for sure told me these dates. And she's like, I would never tell you those dates because I have to take Cecilia to camp that weekend. And Millie's super confused and she's feeling super gaslit. Anyway,
a quick note there. What would you do? Because, like, Nina's done this a few times. I was thinking that when I was reading it. Like, how do you, like, not manipulate, but, like, change the situation so you're not being set up for failure? Like, what could you possibly, like, do you say, like, hey, could you actually text me those dates just so I have it? Like, I just want to make sure I know the exact right date. So you have proof, you know? Like, do you mind writing it down? Or, I don't know, like, how could you go about it in a way that, like, you have proof of the communication without making your employer, like, uncomfortable? Because at my job, I would send an email and be like, following up from our meeting, make sure we agree on everything.
In this specific situation, it seems like there would be, I don't know, there just seems like no right solution. Because if it was texted, she would probably, you know, seems like the kind of person who'd be like, you took my phone and you texted yourself or whatever. That's true. You know, because I don't know, but
that's, like, harder to spin though.
But she kind of does, like, the whole time. What turns out to be helpful is just having somebody else to, like, back you up, which is kind of like what Andrew ends up doing, right? Which is like, no, like, you did give later on when she gives, there's, like, clothes or whatever. Anyway. Yeah. I don't know.
That's true. And I mean, I guess when she called her to tell her to go pick up Cecilia, she could have been like, well, you called me at this time. We talked. Yeah. And I guess it, like, at the end of the day, like, doesn't matter because she's the one that you have to prove it to. Uh-huh. And she's just going to say whatever. Yeah. But I was just thinking that it's like, how do you protect yourself? Because, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I guess at the end of the day, you're also, like, an at-will employee. They could let you go at any point for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. But I would just be really concerned about, like, how can I keep my employment? But at the same time, like, she is worried about keeping her employment, but then she's going out in her underwear to watch a show. So it's like,
she's sleeping with the boss, which we'll get to.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, whatever. Sorry. Go on.
Yeah. No, it is the perfect situation to drive somebody nuts, right? Oh, yeah. Because she doesn't really have a way out. She doesn't have anybody to go to. She doesn't really have, like, a support system. Mm-hmm. And she doesn't have very many options because of her background. Yeah. Yeah, anyway, so Nina is all mad because there is no way of her going to the show now because Millie supposedly got the tickets on the wrong date, which she didn't. Mm-hmm. So Nina says she's going to take the tickets out of her paycheck, but these tickets are super expensive, and so Millie is kind of, like, freaking out because she's like, I can't afford to have this taken out of my paycheck. That's, like, 3 paychecks in a row for me. And then that weekend comes, Nina goes off, takes Cecilia to camp, and Andrew's like, hey, why don't you just use those tickets, and I'll just tell Nina that I was able to get them refunded. Yeah. And
yeah, he says, so when Nina is confronting Millie about it, she's saying, like, you're gonna have to pay for these. Mm-hmm. Andrew says, well, like, let me call the credit card. I might be able to get them to refund the whatever. And then when Nina leaves, he turns to Millie and says, like, actually, I lied to her and told her that I was able to get them refunded, but I wasn't.
True. Yes.
Which is, like, sketchy to me too, because it's like, well, for one, like, I get it, because you don't want her to, like, charge Millie for these tickets. It doesn't make sense. But also, like, to tell her about it, it's like you're making, like, the maid your confidant or whatever about you lying to your wife about something.
Yeah.
he should have just said he got them refunded and then just like left it at that, given them to a stranger, someone else.
No, Andrew
died on the money because he's rich or something.
Yeah, he's definitely effing around.
Yeah, because it's like, oh, this is like our little secret. It just opens up a door.
It's like you can tell. Like, I'm talking about this as if it's like a real life situation, but like you can tell it isn't something that just happens. Their chemistry doesn't just happen. Their affair doesn't just happen. It's like he's and she, they're like both playing into it, right? They're like feeding into these little things, and it is like him making her his confidant, him giving her these tickets, very expensive tickets, and then treating her to so okay, all right, I'm getting ahead of myself. So the day of this Broadway show comes, and Andrew's like, you just take the tickets, go with a friend or whatever. And she's like, well, I prefer not to have these tickets because I don't have anybody to take, and I wouldn't want to go by myself. And
not to overanalyze it, but like the day that Nina leaves, it's like, right, it's that day, right? Later that day. I also thought it was weird because it's like he didn't have any plans. Also getting ahead of myself. But it was like he had to go change right away as soon as Nina left, right? Am I remembering that wrong?
He had to go change?
Yeah, so they could go. So it was like right away, like, you should go with your friends, but it's like in a few hours.
Right, yeah. A little calculated.
I felt like it was.
Yeah. I could see that. So then she doesn't have any friend or whatever, and then he suggests to go with her, right?
Yeah, I think he says like, I'll go with you, yeah.
So then she's like super hesitant. She puts on this like little outfit, and he thinks she's so beautiful in it, and he can't help himself but stare and stuff.
And she doesn't have anything. Well, I guess we skipped this, but at some point, Nina had some clothes, a bunch of dresses and whatever, and Nina only wears white. We don't really know why. And she has this super blonde hair, whatever. Anyway, so she gives Millie all these dresses because, well, she says that she's going to donate them because they don't fit her anymore. But then last minute, she kind of turns to Millie and says, why don't you take them? So when Millie's getting ready for this Broadway show, she's like, I don't have anything nice. I only have all these white dresses that Nina gave me, so I'm just going to wear one of those, and it fits her perfectly. It's important for the story later.
Yeah. No, that's an important detail, and which is, I feel so weird about the whole thing already, which is like, don't tell my wife we're going to this thing, like me and you, and then she wears something that the wife gave her, like something, I don't know, that would make you think of the wife the whole time. It's
or like
weird.
Think of you as the wife replacement.
Yeah. So anyway, so then they go, and then they have this like romantic dinner afterwards. She gets a text from Nina reminding her to take out the trash that day, and then she's like, oh shoot, I forgot. And then they go to a hotel, and he even books like a separate bedroom, right? A separate room, but then they end up.
Yeah, I don't think they talk about it because they realized that over dinner they got drunk, and like there's a few things at dinner too, because it's like she had never gone to like a French place, and so he's taking her. She doesn't know what to order, so she's like, why don't you like surprise me? Like it's this
very flirty.
It's this whole thing, and I don't remember too much about the conversation, I guess, but I guess he does kind of confide in her more, saying how his wife has changed. She's not like how she used to be. She used to be more easygoing, more all these other things. And yeah. I'm trying to think if I forgot anything. Anyway, whatever. That sounds good. Yeah. So then he's like, well, I had a lot to drink. I can't drive back. Why don't we just use the hotel? There's supposed to be 2 beds in the room. And she says, no, like, we would have to get separate rooms. And he's like, well, that's fine. I can pay for it. But then
They don't even
go
make it
in
to
the taxi.
hotel. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the taxi, they start.
Stares at her legs,
Yeah.
and then like the taxi or Uber or whatever takes like a turn, but they're not wearing seatbelts, so like their bodies get close, and then they just take that as a sign from the universe to smash.
Yeah. That's so funny. That's a completely avoidable situation. Like
this is why you should wear your seatbelts. Does that actually show up in the recording too?
Yeah.
Should we explain our theory?
Yeah. Okay, for anybody who's listening that can't see this, every now and then on the webcam, there's like this thumbs up that shows up that we don't really know why it like pops up every now and then.
It's a setting we don't know how to turn off. But
yeah.
This is a more fun explanation.
Our theory is that the FBI guy that's listening to us is giving us his stamp of approval. He's like, you guys are on to something. And we just got it.
So, this is avoidable, and you should wear your seatbelt.
Yeah.
He confirmed it.
Oh, it's so funny because it definitely like that makes me think of the times that I was like in the back seat with like my brothers, and you know, like there's a turn and they'll like smash you against the door, but just out of like malice.
And definitely like elbow first.
Yeah. There's been car rides where I'm just like have my face pressed against the window with my brother like with his foot against my face. It's just such a fun childhood.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So avoidable.
So they start macking and then they smash in the hotel. And she had like the best night of her life, but she knows it can't happen again because he's married and all this stuff.
I will say the book was very PG.
True.
I was surprised.
Me too. I thought it was going to go into details, but then it was just like the next morning.
Yeah.
Which, respect.
Yeah. I was like, what's the tea a little bit? Not a lot.
You're like
but
disappointed.
Well, I was just like,
I had my vibrator.
okay, that's not what I'm saying. It's just like, it's like, what's the conversation? What's like, I'm just wondering, like, did you just, I don't know. You know? Like, I don't know.
No, yeah. They just kind of wake up the next morning and...
I do appreciate it a little bit because it's like they were drunk and they kind of don't remember. Maybe that's kind of the vibe.
Oh, yeah.
But, because part of me was like, I wonder what was said. Wonder if they, like, talked after. Like...
Oh, that's actually a really cool take of, like, they're kind of drunk. But they also weren't too drunk, right? Or were they super drunk?
I don't know. I mean, enough that they couldn't drive, but I don't know what that means.
Supposedly. I thought that was more of like...
Excuse.
I understood it as more of an excuse, but...
Yeah.
Anyway.
I mean, it could be either one. I will say that I've read a couple more books by Freda McFadden, and she doesn't really do, like, dirty. So...
Yeah.
It might just be a writing style too. But I was wondering, like, because, like, there's a conversation the morning after, but there's not much. You would think that they probably talked more in the moment.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was curious because it's like...
Yeah. I wonder if there's more detail into that afterwards, later on.
Did we fall asleep? Did we pretend we fell asleep? Like...
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever.
Well,
cup.
Anyway, so then... After that, as mentioned before, she never took out the trash. And then, okay, that's not that important. Because they get there, they get home, and then Andrew has Enzo, the gardener, take out the trash for them so that Nina never finds out. And then Nina is very suspicious of their activities, and she thinks that there might be going something on, but they kind of deny everything.
Yeah, like she gets home from dropping off Cecilia at camp, and she like had gone shopping or whatever. So she has like Millie pick up her things and take them upstairs. And as like Millie's picking things up, Nina kind of makes like some snarky comments, but then she says like, "Oh, like I called the landline last night. How come no one picked up?" And she's kind of like, "I don't know. I must have been asleep. I don't know what Andrew's up to." Like, it was so funny because it's like, if she didn't know anything, she knew it then. Because Millie was like, "I was probably asleep. I don't know what he's up to. I don't know what he did. I don't know if he was home."
I don't know.
I know, it sounded, I don't know. I don't remember exactly how she phrased it, but it sounded very much like, he's none of my business, okay? It sounded like, we definitely smashed, but I'm trying to not make it obvious by making it obvious.
Stop asking me questions.
I know.
Yeah, so then after that, so Nina is super suspicious, and then she finds her clothes in Millie's closet, right?
Yeah. Well, trying to remember the order of events, because when did she find the playbill? Is that after or before?
I don't know.
No, that was before. So she serves dinner one of the nights, and she's trying to avoid Andrew or whatever. Mm-hmm. And as she's serving dinner, they kind of bump into each other. He makes it seem like, "Hey, I need to talk to you. We need to talk," whatever. There's this whole thing. Anyway, Nina and Andrew sit down to have dinner, and then Millie's just trying to get back to her room and avoid Andrew and Nina and all of them or whatever. And then Nina's like, "Oh, can you get me the salt?" or whatever it is. Makes Millie come back. And then when she does, Nina's like, "Oh, I like love your food. Isn't this so great, Andrew? Yeah, like, I wonder what kind of food you had when you were in prison."
Oh, yeah.
And then Millie's like, "Oh my gosh," because she never told Andrew, and Andrew kind of looks shocked, and Millie's just trying to play it off like, "Yeah, no," and she's like, "Yeah, like, don't get any ideas of serving us prison food," or whatever she says. And she's like, "Yeah, no, whatever." And then she goes to her room and she's pissed. And then when she gets into her room, she sees that, well, when she went to the Broadway show with Andrew, she kept the playbill or whatever of the show, which you would really only have if you went. So she kept it in her purse as like a little souvenir from their extracurricular activities. And it was in her purse, but it's not anymore, and now it's on the nightstand. So that makes it pretty clear that even though she's been locking the room when she's not in there, that Nina is still going in there and looking through things. So then she has a day off, and she leaves the house, goes to a park, is reading whatever she's doing, and then she comes back, and that's where she's confronted.
Yeah. You remember everything so much better than me. Like, trying.
Because you're listening at like 4 speed. You're only catching every other word.
Like, catching the general vibe of what's going on. Like, there's some sort of suspicion. Somebody died. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah. So then, Millie... So yeah, Nina confronts Millie about having clothes in her clothes in her closet. And Millie's like, "What are you talking about? Like, you gave me these clothes." And Nina's like, "I would never do that. You're the help. Like, why would I ever give you, like, my clothes? You're crazy." Yeah. And, like, completely gaslighting her, right? And Millie's like, "Well, this is, like, so awkward." And then Andrew walks in this, like, argument. And Nina kind of tries to pull him to her side and is like, "Can you believe this?" Right? Like,
yeah. She's like, "She stole my clothes. Like, we're calling the police. Like, you're gonna go back to jail or whatever," because she's on parole. And Andrew's like, "No, like, I remember you clearing out your closet and you were selecting these, like, or grabbing these clothes or whatever that no longer fit you." And then he picks it up and he's like, "These haven't fit you in years," which I thought was hella rude.
You think you fit into this? Look again, sister.
I know. It's like,
I know.
Well,
just that divorce.
100%.
Done.
It's like, get out. But on a turn of events, he makes her leave.
Yeah.
He's like,
So yeah, she gets all like pissed and stuff, and like, how are you taking her side? And then he's like, you know what? Like, you've been treating her so bad this whole time. Like, you've become such a different person.
Yeah, he tells like Millie to leave the room because they're about to have a serious talk. So Millie pretends to go upstairs to her room, and then she's still listening.
Yeah, Millie makes some interesting decisions too in the midst of all of this. You know.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm all for, like, listen. I would definitely be very curious myself. But at the same time, I would be so scared of getting caught. I would, at the very least, like, my bedroom door would be open, and I would be ready to, like, bolt back in there, like, if I hear their door opening, you know? But
you also, like, don't know. Like, he ends up kicking Nina out, but you don't know that he's gonna do that, and like, you just got accused of stealing. So like, I don't know. Yeah, I think I would just go upstairs and I would just like wait anxiously, but I wouldn't want to get caught.
Yeah, no, 100%. With every, like, you have a crazy employer, you slept with her husband,
you ain't got no money.
You don't got no money. You have nowhere to go. Like, you're playing with fire. I am sitting in that room, anxiously waiting, just tapping my foot, hoping I'm not going to be kicked back into my car, you know, living on the streets.
I probably would have gone upstairs and I would have packed a bag. I would have left, because, like, I don't know how this is going to go. She might, like, talk him into calling the cops on me. I'm ditching.
And, okay, let's make this clear. No man is worth it.
Oh, no. At all.
No man is worth that. I'm sorry. Andrew might be perfect, but okay, because this is also what I was thinking. Even if, like, in that moment, everything goes like, you have the best outcome possible, which is, like, Nina gets kicked out, you start dating the guy, he treats you like a princess, you guys get married, build a family or whatever. If Nina is as crazy as you know her to be, in what world do you want that woman as your partner's ex? Like, and that you, I mean, quote unquote, like, took him from her, right? Obviously, he has a lot to play in that. But it, like, you know, in her head, it's gonna be like you're the villain, and she doesn't have her husband anymore because of you. You're
trying to be in a documentary as the person that doesn't get interviewed because you did.
No, for real. I would be weighing that in my head alone would be just like, I don't know if I want that woman as an enemy. Like,
I will say a couple of things. Like, well, for one, we find out that Cecilia is not his daughter, right? Yes. Like that Nina had her before they got together, but he's been her father figure since she was like a few months old, it sounds like. Are we not thinking of the child too? Because she's like, the little girl's at camp. You're going to have to, like, if everything goes like how you would think it would go, like, are you going to have to, like, co-parent with this woman that's apparently a psycho?
Yeah.
Like, are you not thinking about that?
Well, Millie kind of gives the impression that, like, poor Andrew has to deal with this brat that isn't even his child, right? Doesn't she kind of think along those lines? She's like,
it's also like he is equally equal participant in raising the brat.
Yeah, and does it never cross her mind, like, this man has a million red flags just because he put himself, like, this is the life he built for himself. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if that sounds wrong.
No, but I get it. I feel like I get how, like, maybe it would be a green flag that Nina having a daughter didn't like turn him away, that he was like willing to step in as a parent, and it sounds like he has a good relationship with Cecilia, but I would be like, yeah, I don't like the way she talks about it, because it's like he raised this girl as his daughter. They seem to have a good relationship. She seems to listen to him, but she is kind of a brat. Like, that's his daughter.
Yeah, and it's like a red flag in the sense of just like, he is in a relationship with a woman who is completely unhinged, and he's sleeping and cheating on her, and I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, and I think
suspicious.
Yeah, and I mean, like we said last time, like, why is she crazy? What'd you do?
Yeah. Yeah.
She plays a part in it, especially if she was so chill and so normal.
Yeah.
And then she wasn't anymore. Like,
you know how they say, like, behind every successful man, there's a woman? Mm-hmm. Behind every crazy woman, there's a man.
There is a man.
That's my new quote. Putting that on my Instagram bio.
I think that's valid. The other thing I think we forgot to mention, and I can't remember exactly at what point this she finds out about this. Oh, so when she goes to pick up Cecilia from school that one time, that she's told to do that, but then she's not supposed to have, because someone else was going to pick her up, and Nina gaslights her. She talks to some moms for a second, and they're like, oh, you're working for Nina Winchester or whatever. Oh, like, good luck, she's cuckoo. And then at a later point, when she takes Cecilia to like a ballet class, she's talking to another nanny and or maid, and she was saying, oh yeah, like, she went to a mental institution when Cecilia was little. Does she tell her? I can't remember. Did she tell her exactly what it was? Because I know what it is, but I can't remember if she finds out at that point.
Yeah, she finds out that it's because Nina tried to drown Cecilia in the bathtub.
Yeah,
when she's
like, she took a bunch of drugs and drugged the baby and tried to drown her, and so she spent some time at a mental institution.
And, like, luckily, Andrew had called the cops, like, right before, and they got there just in time. Which, again, suspicious. How did he know? Right?
Yeah.
To call it, like, they don't say that, right?
I don't think
like,
they do.
How did he know to call the cops?
Yeah, I think they just say, well, I think the story is that he was trying to call Nina and contact her while he was at work, and he couldn't get a hold of her, and then he called the police for a wellness check. And
oh, okay, then never mind, I retract my statement.
Maybe not.
Ooh.
maybe not, I don't know.
Well,
but yeah, so yeah, that's where we're at. So I think that's kind of interesting too, for a couple of reasons. Like maybe it's a green flag on Andrew for sticking it out with her. Like, I don't know what the situation is. Like, did she, like, that's not just like postpartum depression. That would be like postpartum, like, psychosis. And yeah, so like him working through that with her, but then like you work through that with her, she's kind of unhinged. You're not suggesting for her to get maybe help now if she's unhinged now. You're also cheating on her. Also, like, what is that supposed to trigger if she is nuts?
And also, he just like, it also comes right after they find out that she can't have kids anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Which is also pretty sad, just considering, like, the timing of it. And if this man is a green flag, like, he wouldn't be cheating on her at all, right? But he definitely would at least have the decency to be a little more empathetic about the timing of it, you know? Like, not leaving her right after they find out.
Because she's not fertile anymore, so he's done.
Of course she's going to think that it has to do with that, you know?
Yeah, and Millie's supposed to be, like, younger and fresher eggs or whatever. Yeah. No, I agree. I kind of forgot about that point. Yeah. Also, I mean, I want to be careful with how I say this, I guess. I understand wanting to have like a kid of your own or whatever. It's like that experience of like having a little person or whatever that's partly made from you or whatever. Uh-huh. But, and I don't think they specified what her situation is, but they could, it sounds like they have the resources. They could fertilize eggs. They could still do potentially IVF for her. If not, they could also like fertilize the egg with this sperm or whatever and then have a surrogate or something.
Yeah, like have an egg donor.
Or adopt. But the thing is too is like he has a daughter too. He's allowed to have more kids. But I'm saying like, I don't know. It's like if the desire is to be a parent, why not just try it in a different way or adopt if you want more kids? Mm-hmm. I don't know. To like, I think the mentality of like, yeah, like I'm just gonna find someone younger and have my baby with her is very much like, one, obviously you trash, but also it's such like an ego thing. Yeah. It's like, do you just need to procreate? Like, can't you? I don't know. I get wanting to have kids. I get wanting to be a parent. But, like, just wanting fresher eggs or whatever it is just pisses me off so much.
Yeah. Yeah. If that's the motivation behind it, it does. It is. And it does feel very stupid.
And maybe I made this up, but it sounds like maybe, again, yeah, maybe I made this up. But it sounded like when he was talking to Millie about it, that he's like, I just always wanted to be a dad. And it's like, you are.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you've been parenting this girl. She's like, what, 9? And he started...
From when she was a baby, right?
Yeah. It's like, you raised her. Like, you are a parent. That just is a huge red flag to me. Like, you have a daughter. Do you not consider her a daughter? You should have gotten into that relationship if you don't see her that way.
All his green flags, you know, feel like they're just
really like, red.
For real. It's like the tip of the iceberg, you know? It feels like everything just feels like there's a lot more to it. And it's like, oh, you're really kind to like stick it out with Nina up until this point. But then also like there just seems to be a lot wrong with the marriage in and of itself. And you're trying to have a kid, but you know that she's not, like, really stable right now. You're not really looking for help for her. And I don't know.
She has a history of mental illness, potentially, and then she's in a really vulnerable time because she really wanted a baby, but she can't have one. So we're going to go ahead and have an affair on her because that's not going to do a number on everyone. Like,
yeah. No.
It's crazy.
Yeah. It's like, yeah. You can tell that that Freda, the author, is trying to write him as like a good man, but questionable, you know?
Yeah.
And she does a fairly good job with that. But you do, like, when you're in the story, you're like, Millie, you being dumb.
Yeah. Also, I mean, this is probably a bad thing that thriller books are doing to me and shows and whatnot, but it's always like whenever I'm watching something or reading something and it's like, oh, this guy is so nice, I'm like, killer. So nice, such a good person. No, they're not.
There's no way.
They have a history.
If this man is all green flags,
I know.
That's a red flag. Too many green flags equals a red flag.
I'm a true believer of that. But yeah, also it is interesting because he's introduced as like this nice guy, whatever, all these things. But then like you're getting all these things, these pieces of the story that are being spun in a way that's supposed to be good. But then it's like, I don't know.
Yeah. And you can never trust a cheater, you know? Like, if you marry 100%. Somebody that, like, or you're even with somebody who you got with by, like, they were with somebody else when you guys got together, like, you're never going to trust that person.
You lose them how you got them.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking that, too. And it's like, ooh. Also, like, what is the plan? Like, you're the maid in this house. He's kicking out his wife. Are we going to play house with this person? Do you want to actually try for a relationship? If so, like, you have to move out, and then, like, which you ain't got no money, and now you ain't got no job because you're not going to work at his house. I don't know why I'm, like, getting intense about this.
Get that finger up.
It's like, it's just so stupid. It's like, think about it. Well, I guess that's out the door because she already slept with him. But it's like, you're out of a job, so you have no money. Or unless you want to become financially dependent on this guy who you don't really know.
Yeah, you don't know him at all. And it's like, you're inserting yourself into such a weird situation in the context of, like, the environment outside of the home, too. Like, everybody already knows you as the maid. And they're gonna know that you cheated.
Yeah.
That, like, you slept with him. And they're gonna, like, clearly they're people with lots of judgment and lots of opinions, and rumors that spread, and I guess, like, ultimately it shouldn't matter too much, I guess, like, the opinions of other people, but that's not even what I'm saying.
If you're a bad person, it should.
Yeah. I feel like you're just setting yourself up. Like, the relationship is gonna have such a hard time if it's already stacked against all of that, you know? Like...
And I mean, as a couple, not only did you have to move out of his house, but as a couple, you have to move to a different place. Because how do you ever overcome that? Because, yeah, you have the boyfriend or whatever. She really wants the boyfriend. But, like, you have no community. Like, you...
Yeah, you don't... Yeah, you already don't have a support system.
Yeah, like...
And then his support system is going to be against... Or, I mean, they're going to have opinions about your, like, yeah, it's just, I feel like the foundation is already very, like, you're building it on sand, you know?
Yeah.
That's coming down.
No, I agree. And it's also, like, she doesn't really know his family. It's just, like, you're just gonna have so many issues, and, like, I don't know, the chemistry only goes so far.
That spark is gonna go off soon.
I know, it's like... I don't know, the tension and whatever. It's like, it's already halfway gone. You're already smashed. It can still be good, but it's like, you have no relationship. You don't really know each other. He doesn't even know that she's been to, I mean, I guess he knows now that she's been to jail or whatever.
But he doesn't know the reason yet, right?
He could totally, like, tell her to get out once he finds that out if he feels like that's not.
She doesn't even know what he does for work.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, there's just, like,
also
there's too much crap to swim through.
Yeah.
In this relationship already.
Nothing is worth it. And then when he's kicking Nina out, she's like, "What about Cecilia? What about us?" And he's like, "You never let me adopt her officially, so bye." Like,
which is like, that's not a good reason, dude. Like, do you love her?
Yeah, like,
she's
as
your daughter, supposedly. Like, you wanted to adopt her at some point.
Yeah, like, we would never be in that situation. But if you were, like, is that not a huge red flag that he's, like, kicking the little girl to the curb? Like,
100%. There's, like, yeah.
Like, would you not want to... I mean, there's people that get into relationships that are shorter than that, like, than the kid's whole life. And they end up doing, like... not visitation, but, like, some type of thing, because, like, it's hard on kids to, like, lose relationships that they build. So, like, I don't know. I've just... Well, I guess my example is, like, influencers, but still. Like,
at the very least, if he's truly a decent human, he'll offer some sort of, like, financial support, you know? At least for a while. Because you're kicking the woman out to the curb.
100%, but not just that. Wouldn't you want some type of custody? That blows my mind.
Yeah.
Because, like, yeah, he's not the biological father, but he raised her.
Yeah, no, it's a very lousy excuse to be like, oh, yeah, well, it's your fault. It's gaslighting.
Ooh, I don't know. It just gave me a huge ick of, like, he doesn't care about the little girl at all. Like, who cares if she's bratty? Like, every kid goes through phases. Like,
Yeah, well, no, and again, it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, it's such a green flag that he took this girl in and he raised her as his own and loves her and is such a good father to her. But then, first chance he gets, he's like, yeah, I never adopted her, so she's not mine, so bye. You know, like,
yeah,
that green turned into red very fast.
Yeah, I don't understand. I feel like either way, I would have packed my bags. It would have, like, left.
I would have been like, y'all are too crazy for me.
Yeah.
But anyway, so continuing with the story, Nina is kicked out. They're now, like, starting this relationship. He's at work, I think, or doing something, and she starts packing her room to, like...
Okay, we missed a little piece. Sorry.
Oh, wait, okay.
It's gonna feed back into it. Yeah, so they sleep together in the guest room, whatever. He tells her that, well, she basically says, like, she's gonna do the chores or whatever that she normally does, and he's like, no, you're not gonna be my maid anymore. We can live here, and, you know, this might become, like, a permanent situation if things go the way that I want them to go, but you should just, like, relax. And so she tries to, like, occupy herself, and she reads some books and, like, pulls them out or whatever of the bookshelves and tries to read a few different things, leaves them on the coffee table, and then she finally does realize that they ran out of food. So then, and in the meantime, she's getting these calls from a blocked number, and she doesn't know who it is, so she just keeps ignoring them. She goes to the grocery store and to get some things, and while there, she gets another block number call. She ignores it again, and then she runs into one of the PTA moms, and she says that she was supposed to have lunch with Nina, but Nina never showed up, so she's wondering what's going on. She says, like, oh, nothing, like, everything's fine. Also, dumb highlight, but the PTA mom calls her, like, aren't you Nina's girl? And it just sounded like a pimp thing to me. I don't know. It's such a weird way to refer to someone. Yeah. And at any job. Like, yeah. So rude.
You're one of her girls.
Unless it's like you're her daughter. I guess that's fine. But, like...
No, yeah, it sounds like you're getting pimped out.
It's just weird. It's like, aren't you this other person's possession? Anyway, but this PTA mom says, oh, like, yeah, okay. And then she sees the phone that it's in Millie's hand, and she's like, oh, like, you're very kind to let her track you all the time. And
oh, yeah.
Millie's like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Like, she just texts me sometimes and whatever. And the PTA mom is like, no, like, I'm talking about the tracking device or tracking app that's installed in the phone. Yeah. And she's like, what?
Like, find my friends, girl.
Yeah.
Find my enemies.
My stalkers. Yeah. So she's like, what the heck? So she leaves the groceries. She goes to leave the grocery store. She's really stressed out. And she sees a white Lexus leaving the parking lot. And she's like, I think that's Nina's car. And then she gets another phone call and she answers it. She's like, Nina, what do you want? Or whatever. And it's like a vehicle, like, warranty call. Yeah. And she's like, okay, maybe I'm a little paranoid thinking it's her trying to contact me. And then at another point she does answer, and there's like a recorded message or like a robotic voice saying, don't date Andrew, or like, you have to leave Andrew or something. Mm-hmm. And she's like, that's probably Nina. Anyway, so that's important. It's going to come back to play later.
Yeah. No, that is an important part. And then another important part is that Andrew feels really weirded out by the gardener, Enzo, who spends too long at, like, working in their garden when, like, he's supposed to be a gardener for the whole neighborhood, right?
Yeah.
But he spends, like, half of his time at their house, and he's like, Andrew's super suspicious of this, like, doesn't get why he spends so much time there, and eventually tells him to leave, right? Like, you've been spending way too much time here.
Yeah.
And Enzo, before leaving, throughout the whole book, he's like this Italian man who can't really speak English. And when he tries to speak English, it's like very broken English, heavy accent.
Like
really
couple
can't
of words at a time, like no sentences.
Like can't communicate very well in English. So him and Millie have like a very hard time. Like Millie tries a few times to talk to him and never really can. Anyway, so fast forward to this moment, Enzo turns to her and he's like, "This place is dangerous. You should leave." And, like, his English is a lot better when he says that. It,
like, he still has an accent, but it's, like, way less, like, detectable or whatever.
It, like, reveals that he like, knows more than he's letting on. You know, he knows how to speak English. He probably understands more than he has let on up to this point. And Millie's like, "Oh, that's really weird."
Mm-hmm. He's also making sure that he's not saying anything in front of Andrew.
Yes. So that happens, and then he leaves. And then...
Oh, did you say that Andrew fired him?
Oh, no. Andrew fires him.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, so then we get to the point that I tried to skip everything important to get to. But Millie is like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna get out of this, like, little closet of a room that she had been living in, like, was it in the attic or just, like, the upper
attic
floor?"
Yeah.
She's like,
"I'm the only thing that's up there."
Yeah, she's like, I'm gonna get out of here, gonna, like, set up in a guest room. So she's, like, packing her stuff, and then Andrew gets home, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And then she was like, "Oh, I just thought, like, I could, like, move into one of the guest rooms." And he's like, "No, I love the idea. I was gonna suggest it." And then it's so romantic, so they start kissing, and then they start banging. and then they're doing it in her little attic room. And then the next morning,
on a cot.
Comfortable. And then the next morning, she wakes up and he's already gone.
Oh, at 3 a.m, she wakes up. And it's the middle of the night.
Oh. I was listening to it too fast.
Okay. So, she wakes up in the middle of the night. She notices that he's not there anymore. So she's thinking, like, oh, he's much older than me, so he probably needed to go to an actual bed. Like, I know that this cot, like, hurts my back, so I can only imagine what it would do for him.
Was this the first time that they revealed that he's 10 years older than her? Because I don't remember that being mentioned before.
They talk about it a few times.
That
he's like 10, that he's like in his 40s or something, and she's in her late 20s.
Oh, okay.
But I think they only mention it a couple of times. They don't say it too much. But yeah, she mentions in this point just because she's like, he probably woke up in the middle of the night and was just so uncomfortable he needed to go down and probably didn't want to wake me.
Yeah.
And she really needs to go to the bathroom.
Right. So I was going to say, okay, she does talk about how, like, her bladder hurts, right?
Yeah.
Because relatable. That was a moment that I was like, girl, I get.
Same.
That's something I can support.
It was never that bad. Well, it's not bad after kids, and it wasn't that bad before kids, but when I was pregnant, man, I got up like 3 or 4 times in the middle of the night to go pee because I needed to pee so bad all the time. That
is like, I will wake up early almost every day because I need to go to the bathroom. I'm like, and it hurts. I'm like, I just want to sleep in. My
do you go before bed too?
Mm-hmm. I just drink a lot of water. I usually drink like quite a bit of water right before I fall asleep and like during the night. So then when I wake up, I'm like, I need to go.
That makes sense.
It's a good tactic though to get out of bed. You know, like if you're ever just like rotting in bed, you can't do that when your bladder is screaming at you.
I know, but it also sucks when you're so tired and you're like, please stop.
Okay, this has happened to me so many times. Where I'm like, I'm so tired and I'm gonna go use the bathroom and I like just slightly miss the toilet when I'm sitting down.
Happens to the best of us. It's like, or with a husband, it's happened a couple times where I went to the bathroom and the seat was up.
Yeah.
And I did
You,
not
almost
look.
fallen.
Yeah. Or actually fallen and have to take a full shower in the middle of the night.
Have you heard like the thing people do, like if it's yellow, let it mellow, if it's brown, flush it down? Have you heard?
No. You always flush.
Oh yes, you always flush.
Okay.
But that's like a saying for like, it's like to save money on water, or to help like just save water, I guess. So that you're not flushing a ton and you're helping the world or whatever. That's something that like a philosophy a lot of people live by. I was reading on Reddit. Somebody was like, do not do that because it's all fun and games until you're the one doing the brown and it like splashes back up. The yellow splashes back up and you don't know who's. Anyway, I was like, that is horrible. And I'm so sorry I even brought it up. I regret it, guys.
We need new friends. I don't think that's cool at all.
No.
At first I thought you were gonna go into like, don't eat yellow snow or something. That's where this was going. And I'm like, don't eat snow at all. And always flush.
But yeah, just always flush is the concept. But yeah, so anyway, so then
quick production pause. Bud, Mama's recording, okay? I'm on a call. You want to ask Lolly something?
What do you want to ask?
Let me see a big lookout.
A workout?
Lookout.
A lookout. A big lookout?
Yeah, the curse go fall off
Whoa.
into the top to look out.
Whoa. That is very interesting.
Okay, you gotta go with Dad, okay, Bud? Close the door, please.
I want to find Dad to say hide and seek.
He's playing hide and seek. Okay, he's not in here, okay? Go look in Mommy's room. Just cut it out.
Yeah.
So yeah. So
back to the story.
always flush and
always flush. Don't forget. And so anyway, yeah, she really needs to use the bathroom.
Yeah.
And then she goes to open the door to leave her little attic room. And it's stuck, as it usually is, so she keeps trying. And then she finds out that she's actually locked in there. Boom!
The end of part 1. I read the whole thing, and I'm just so anxious to talk about the rest. I was kind of hoping you cheated too. I passed it.
I was so close. I held myself back because everything I read like so long ago. Yeah. And I had like the rest of the week, and I was just like driving in silence, and I was like, I could be really using an audiobook right now.
Yeah. But that's okay. We can save it for next time.
Yeah. We'll finish
the
book
not ready
next time. So if you're following along, next podcast is the time to be done. We'll give our final thoughts, and we will also talk about what book we'll read next.
Yeah. Do we want to do some predictions?
Well, you know what happens.
Well, I can make stuff up. And why don't you go first?
Okay. Well, I feel like my prediction from the very beginning, which I feel very right about now, is that Andrew's the problem.
Yeah.
So my mind kind of goes in two separate directions. One, we got confetti now. What the heck? The FBI guy is very excited.
I know.
He's just on the edge of his seat right now. Anyway.
At least we have one listener. That's the FBI guy.
Every time it's him. Or her. We don't know. Anyways, okay. One of the directions my mind goes in is that Andrew is some sort of like mastermind. What's the word?
Manipulator,
not psychotic.
sociopath,
yeah. Where he's the one that makes Nina crazy, and she's like, maybe because before she was working and doing a ton of stuff before they got married, so maybe she was the housemaid before that, and he was married to somebody else, and then kind of like the same thing happened. That like something along those lines, right? And then he is the one behind her going crazy.
Okay,
somehow. That's one theory. My other theory is that they are working together, him and Nina, and they're both there's some sort of game going on with the housemaid, and they're just trying to drive her crazy somehow.
It's like the most complicated swingers club.
And they got one. They only got half of us.
That's why they're trapping her in the attic, because they're like trying to collect more.
But yeah, maybe they're like working together, and the whole plan has always been to trap her there, and they've got some weird game going on.
Okay,
those are my two theories.
They're pretty good ones. Yeah.
You can say what you thought at that. Like,
yeah, that's what I'm trying to think of. What came to mind as soon as that door was locked? First thing, it was like, I think 3 a.m. when I was reading that. And so, like, Josh is, like, asleep, and I'm just like, and I'm like, I need someone to talk to about this. Like, I kind of thought
you were going to say, like, I need to go check my door.
I have a story about that too. But yeah, I was just, I don't know. So I was reading it pretty late. So I had a few different theories. I mean, when I kind of was thinking that he was the bad guy too, I was thinking maybe his whole thing is going after vulnerable women. When he met his wife, she was like, she had a newborn. And they got together, it sounds like, very shortly after that.
And she was, like, working multiple jobs, right? Like, she was a very hard worker when they first met.
I can't remember what I know what they say after, but I don't know what they say before.
Working. I don't know.
They definitely say that she was working. I think
she was, like a hard worker. I don't remember if it was 2 jobs or what it was. But
that sounds right, actually. But, yeah, that she was definitely working and doing things with a newborn, which is really hard. I think they might have mentioned that she was working multiple jobs, and if that's the case, like, she wasn't like financially stable, and he's super rich, so someone vulnerable in comparison to him, right?
He's got like a savior complex.
It could be.
Yeah,
it could be. I was gonna say something else that I had forgotten too. Oh yeah, at some point, I think it's when they do the PTA meeting at their house, which I guess we didn't really mention because it was very uneventful. But like, Nina basically throws this PTA meeting at her house and makes Nina plan the whole thing, and Nina's just really busy cleaning up the house, and Andrew kind of saves the day by going and picking up the hors d'oeuvres. I don't know how to say that. Anyway, that's not important. But during the PTA meeting, at some point, Nina walks out, and then they mention a couple of things that become important later. Her roots are growing in. They mention that a lot. I don't know if you got into that. Mm-hmm. That she hasn't gotten her hair done. And then, which sounds really stupid, but it's going to become important. And then the other thing is, and I can't remember 100% sure if that's when they mention it, but at some point you find out that they have like an ironclad prenup.
Yes. Yeah, the ladies talk about it when Nina like leaves the room for a second, and then the ladies are chatting about it, and Millie hears them. So that kind of implies that she didn't have any money and he has a lot of money. So when they got together, at
that's kind of what I was thinking. Like, maybe he just kind of goes after, like, vulnerable women, and then he somehow makes them go a little nuts, and then he gets sick of them, and then he wants a new person to save and depend on him.
Yeah.
And whatever, before he things go south. I was definitely, like, really confused as to, like, what he does to drive them nuts exactly, because they don't say, but also because, like, in front of other people, he's obviously seems like a nice guy to his wife and to his kids, and, like, the image.
He definitely seems like he has it all together.
Yeah. And Millie is living with them, and she's not seeing anything from his side. It's usually Nina who's going a little nuts. And I don't think we mentioned this either, but at some point, I think it's like one of the first few nights, she's at the house, but they're fighting. I think it's after they find out that she's not fertile or not able to carry a pregnancy to term. But Nina and him are fighting in their room, and then Millie comes down to make sure everything's okay because she hears, like, a loud bang or something. And then Nina comes out of the room and she's, like, bleeding. And so she wonders if Andrew's okay or something.
Like
But she hears, like, the water running in the bathroom, so she knows that he's okay, but she thinks that Nina did something to him. So that kind of, I was a little confused on that, but part of me was like, is she, like, doing it to herself because she's going crazy because he's nuts, or did he hurt her in that scene, but she, like, is starting to fight back, so he's getting sick of her? I don't know. I had a few different theories. One of them was definitely too that maybe they were working together somehow, and wanting to trap her, but I was also like, but why? Like, did they just like torturing people? Maybe that could be it. Or, like, I don't know, because, like, do you want them, I don't know, do you want a slave? Do you want her to work for you for free? Or, like, because you're paying her, she lives with you, you already have full access, a lot of access. He's sleeping with her, he has full access. So, like,
some weird game going on,
some weird kink, because, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we'll find out next episode.
Time.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Bye.